I can't wait for our conversation today. This morning, I am joined by Michelle Griffith Robinson, who is an Olympian who actually looks like a rock star. Michelle, you really do. You look like a rock star today. How are you doing?
I'm great, darling. I'm great. I'm living my life in Wales with my family. Dynamics have changed a lot over the last few weeks. Daughter's gone to boarding school. Other one's going back to uni. New house, new friends, new environment, new hair color as well. And
Awesome.
embracing every minute of life.
Brilliant. And this is why you and I get on, because every now and again when we catch up, it's like, so what's happened to you? Well, both of us have moved house, but both of us are now living in different parts of the country. We've just decided to totally up sticks and change our lives, and why the hell not? Absolutely.
Absolutely.
So I mentioned that you are an Olympian.
Yeah.
This is something that you must be in the top, what, 0.5% of the universe? How many people can call themselves Olympians, Michelle?
I'd say not a lot of people can call themselves,
Yeah.
but I guess you never really truly appreciate the title until many years after you've finished. And at the time, it was bloody gruesome. Let's not pretend here. This is hard work. When you see all those athletes from different sports all across the globe training, and you see them compete for like 10 seconds or 15 seconds or over a pole vault or a high jump or a swimming race, don't underestimate the shit that goes on before that. It's hard work. It's gruesome. There's a lot of tears, a lot of laughter, and actually a lot of connections made as well. So yes, I am an Olympian. I went to 1996 Atlanta Summer Olympics. Absolutely, probably the best thing I've ever done in my life. Walking out into a crowd of 90,000 people in my GB tracksuit that I've still got now. It's upstairs, vintage. I call it vintage, not vintage, vintage. Um, but yeah, one of the things I'm very very proud about because I was just a little girl from Wembley that dared to dream. So yeah.
How did you make the transition from spending a lifetime in that almost bubble of training and focusing towards these, whether it is the Olympics, whether it is, the Commonwealth Games or
Mhm.
different events that you are training for? Because exactly like you say, you train for years for
Yeah,
something that can only take a few seconds.
yeah.
When you decide to step away from that, when your time has come and it's time to move on, how do you make that transition, and what goal do you set? Because clearly you're a goal-driven person. What
Mhm.
goal do you set to work towards and move towards?
I think that a lot of people find it quite hard, the transition. If I'm being honest, Andrew, they do. A lot of athletes, sports men and women, struggle to find the next step, the next
Mm.
buzz, the next adrenaline hit. And I think it was easier for me because I'd already established a personal training company, probably 7 years before I retired, because they stopped my funding. National Lottery had stopped my funding because I was underperforming. So therefore, I was almost forced to find something to a secure income. So I went into personal training because that's my passion is fitness. And from that, I then had the pleasure of meeting people like Mel B, Gail Porter, training those kind of superstars at the time. And from that, you know what, my business was already established. I then had a child. So my transition was easy because my why was always there. So that's from my point of view. But I do hear people saying when the phone stops ringing, you're no longer the nucleus of anybody, that your sponsors drop you. It's a very difficult time for a lot of people, so I definitely empathize with how people feel. But I'd always say to somebody who is nearing the end of any career or wants to change career, find out your skill set, find out what brings you joy, find out what you're great at, and go and ask people, how did you do it? Because people have always done what you've done already. So don't try and rewrite the script or rewrite the wheel. The only thing you're doing is writing your script. But go and ask these really pertinent questions so that you can find, actually, yeah, I'm going to use a little bit of that to help me along my journey. Because after all, we are all work in progress.
I love that, and you're absolutely right. It is bang on advice in that you are never forging a brand new path. There is always someone who has trodden it before you, but you will do it in your own unique way. And most of the time, if you do reach out to successful people and ask them what they did, most of them will in
Yeah,
some way get back to you and sort of give you a little clue, or even just listen to podcasts and listen to interviews that they've done. They will leave little breadcrumbs of clues as to how they've done it. Michelle, you're a woman after my own heart in that you are such a champion of midlife in terms of seeing this as a position where you are halfway through, not halfway done.
amen.
This is why we get on.
Mm.
So I wanted to talk to you today about this whole idea of, say you have had some kind of career transition.
Yeah,
Maybe you just had a life transition because you've become an empty nester,
yeah,
or you've done like what we've done. You've moved to a different part of the country, so you're starting again. In midlife, the issue of confidence, of feeling strong in yourself, seems to be a really pertinent one, as it seems to shrink. That could be
yeah,
menopause related, it could be circumstantial, there could be 1,000 reasons.
yeah.
But in your capacity as a coach and a mentor, what do you advise to people? And in this instance, particularly, say women in midlife, if they're feeling the confidence crunch,
Mm.
what do you advise them?
Yeah, so I would definitely say to women who are in midlife, and also as well, we have to be careful here. What do we consider midlife? 45, 50, 55. So however you see yourself, but let's call it midlife for me is anything past 50. That's where I consider midlife. But don't get it twisted, guys. This is not, I'm halfway done. This is really going to really see me kicking more ass. So I have to really make that very clear. So what do I say is reevaluate is probably a big thing for me. Reevaluate again, like I said earlier on, what brings you joy. Reevaluate, what do you want to do next? Really dig deep. You're struggling with confidence. What are you struggling with? Are you struggling with your weight? Are you struggling with your style? Are you struggling with your setup? Is your marriage a loving one? Are you in a partnership or not? Do you like being on your own? Do you want to do solo traveling? So these are all really good questions to ask yourself in order to unpick and unravel what's going to make you kick ass for the next 30, 40, 50 years. And I say that with real venom about it because sometimes we don't know what brings us joy because for too long we've been looking after the children, being the housewife at home or in a career driven. So you forget actually what makes me smile. You forget that. So my thing would be to sit down, give yourself a bit of time, schedule in next week, Wednesday from 6 till 8. I'm going to sit down with my girlfriend or my partner and write down what brings me joy. What makes me want to bounce out of bed? If money was no object, if I had all the money in the world, all the time in the world, what would I want to do? Dig deep, be honest. Yeah, because we
I
all go through levels of being not feeling great. A few weeks ago, I woke up, I was like, oh my God, look at me. I'm feeling a bit out of shape. And my husband's like, what the hell are you talking about? Now, me being out of shape is, I'm only been out of shape 3 times really in my whole life. When I'm pregnant, I get massive. But I never had confidence issues because I was bearing a child. That never bothered me. But the other day, I was like, oh, so we do have these lulls where we start to almost sabotage ourselves. So how do we
mm,
turn that around? Get out for a walk and forget about it. It's bullshit. It's negative. Get rid of it. Yeah, it's fear. Fear of what? False evidence appearing real. You're making up your own bad story, making up your own bad ending, which we are all guilty of. All of us. Even the most confident woman you may see. Underneath that, there's something that's going on. Don't get it twisted, guys.
Oh my gosh, there's so many little nuggets there that I want to unpack that you mentioned. So the first one was, okay, so you sit down with yourself or with your partner or the friend, and you try and write down, bring to the front of your mind, even just let your body feel it if you like. Because sometimes if people bounce ideas around, your body will let you know because you'll react. You think, oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
So you don't have to think sort of um what's the word, educationally,
Yeah.
logically, what do I like. Sometimes just throw some things around, let your body react. Okay, so you're doing that, nothing is landing
Yeah.
because you've spent so long, exactly like you
Hmm.
said, looking after everyone else, making sure
Hmm.
everyone's all right. You can't even remember what you like anymore. So
Hmm.
what would your advice be to someone who's thinking, I don't know,
Yeah.
I have no idea? Would it be, well, try something, or what did you used to like? What would you say? What's your
I,
advice?
I would go back and I would say actually, when I'm coaching women, because I do a lot of coaching with women in midlife, there's a lot of silence on the phone. And there's silence because you need space to think. And sometimes I say, okay. And they might say, I really can't nail it. And then I'll ask another question. I'll say, tell me about a time when you were younger and you put on those jeans, those flared jeans and those high heels and a wig. And they start to smile like, yeah, music. Oh, music. Oh, so you like music? Put on the music. Let the music blare. Let yourself feel free. That brings a spark, a little bit of enjoyment. And it's not going to buy anything. It's not going to invest in anything apart from investing in your feelings. And we sometimes negate the fact of investing in our feelings, what makes us smile. So I know if I'm feeling a little bit lull, I put on the music. All of a sudden I want to dance. All of a sudden I want to be on Strictly Come Dancing because it just leads you to other things. It might be from that. Could you try a salsa class? Is there a local Zumba class? We're missing out on those community feels. And guaranteed, if you're feeling like that, there'll be another dozen women that are feeling like you at some point. So it's
I
about
love
just
that.
really, really, really sitting down and recognizing just the small things. Do you know what? When's the last time I baked a cake? When's the last time I went in for a coffee morning? When's the last time I went for a swim? You know, for me, the last time I did something, I haven't been Pilates now for 6 months. So I booked a course of Pilates. Done. I booked it. No if, buts, maybes. I've booked my course of Pilates. So I've now got something to look forward to. So that's another thing. Book in things that you're going to look forward to. Get the right people around you that's going to turn around and encourage you. And I do say it, find your tribe and thrive. Find your tribe and thrive. You've got to do that. And sometimes it's hard, but you've got a tribe around you. Find it.
I love that idea of stepping back and thinking of one thing and letting that snowball towards positive action.
Yeah.
Because really that's where, great things don't just start by being huge and great. They
No.
start with little tiny kernels of an idea. And if the first bit is just, do you know what? I like booging around on my own to the radio sometimes. And that can lead to a Zumba class or a salsa class, which actually energizes you, makes you feel good. Let that happen. Another thing I want to pick up on that you said is that word of self-sabotage, because I think this is particularly something that I see over and over again with women in midlife, which is, okay, we'll use the example of weight because that was something that you mentioned earlier. So we are almost programmed to believe that once I hit a certain age, my metabolism will slow down, I will automatically put on weight, and it's just how I am. And absolutely, a lot of that is true, but it doesn't necessarily have to be how you want to stay, how you need to stay if you don't want it to be. Now, clearly, little asterisks here, there are many mitigating circumstances, and it's not always true for everybody. But in your case, it may just be that you're self-sabotaging because and I'm saying this from a personal experience. I genuinely am, because it's demoralizing when you look in the mirror and you put on weight. You don't feel as good about yourself when because comparison is the thief of joy, and you compare yourself to how you looked before. How do we break ourselves out of this self-sabotaging cycle? How would you do it? I know how I would do it, but how would you do it?
How would I do it is it's a very big question, and I always say again, and so please excuse me, listeners, it's not one size fits all. So I recognize that because I think it's really important, because I get a lot, but you're an Olympian and you're slim and you do weight training. One size doesn't fit all. So I'm just seeing it through my lens. When I'm not feeling great, I look at, number one, the self-sabotage generally stems from not enough sleep, not enough good nutrition, and not enough movement. And I know it sounds
100%.
stupid, but when either of those three are off, I start sabotaging.
Do you know what's so funny, Michelle? Yesterday, I did a keynote speech for this incredible organization. It's called Women in New Energy, and it was a corporate thing. And so I did a talk talking about how we forget to treat our own selves as a constantly renewable energy source. So whilst it's great, it's brilliant because it's a corporate thing. They talk about new energy in oil and gas and all the new ways that we can find our energy, but we forget about ourselves. Michelle, how I got myself back to wellness again is I visualize, very visual person. I visualize my wellness as a three-legged stool with my brain sitting on top. Sounds a bit bonkers, but it works. And my three-legged stool is sleep, movement, and nutrition. So literally when you were saying it, I was like, you are preaching to the converted. And
Boom.
the way I visualize it is if one of those legs is a little bit off, the stool is going to wobble. And what's the first thing that's going to happen? Is the brain's
Brain.
going to fall. And it means I'm not going to think clearly.
There
I'm
you,
not going to be thinking good
there,
thoughts. I won't be making good
there you
decisions.
go.
So therefore, if I'm feeling a bit like that, I think, hang on a minute,
Yeah,
steady.
yeah,
Which one of my legs on my wobbly stool is
yeah.
not working properly? And literally, I made this up in myself. And so I just call it my wobbly stool method. And it just works. It works.
And that's what I'm saying to people. For me, that's when I look at those three and exactly what you said, the stool, and I can see the stool. When you talk about visualization, it really sparked me because I like to visually, I'm a visual person. So I'm looking at my stool, which is, everybody knows I'm bold and bright. My stool's got a beautiful Charlotte Gainsford fabric on top, really multicolored, really nice, sturdy, strong wooden legs. Yeah,
Interesting.
really, because that's me. It's me. I'm strong, I'm sturdy, I'm bold, and I'm colourful. So if one of those legs has got a slight tilt, that means the screw is not quite in there. I'm starting to just start to creep in. So sometimes we need to just tighten the screw on all those three legs, look at what we can do, and make that Charlotte Gainsford. And bearing in mind, I'm not sponsored by Charlotte. I don't even know who she is. I just like her fabrics. You'll let that shine through. Yeah,
I
we'll,
love that.
we'll let that shine through. So again, back to the ladies out there, the men out there, the listeners out there, the midlife people out there. The three things that work for me are really homing in on my nutrition, my movement, and my sleep. And
Mm,
I think sleep is underestimated. Anybody out there that really wants me to do a big campaign on sleep, tap me up, because I think it's something that actually we've looked at all the HRT, we've looked at all the nutrition, but we haven't really dug deep into sleep.
mm,
And I know that even if you start from when we had children, those that have had the pleasure of having children around them, when they have that, why do we put them to bed early? Get to bed early so that tomorrow morning you can get up and you can be bright, you can go to school and learn, da 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 da. But we feel we can function on 6 hours. What the bloody hell?
yeah.
Yeah.
100%. And I know that again in my coming back to wellness from being poorly, sleep was vital. And this is someone who I used to work in breakfast television many years ago, so I was up at 3:30 every
Oh,
morning. I did
God.
this for 11 years, and my warped way of thinking was I can, as long as I get 4 hours, I'm fine. 4 hours, can you believe? And because I could function on 4 hours, but it didn't mean it was doing really good. And I also used to have this idea that, oh, I'll work really hard in the week and then at the weekend I'll bank. So
Mm,
I'll just have loads of sleep and I'll catch
mm.
up.
Didn't happen.
It doesn't work.
Doesn't
It
happen.
doesn't. So if this is what you're doing, anybody watching this and thinking, it's fine, I'll bank at the weekend. You are
It
literally putting your body into permanent jet lag. Your body doesn't know where it is.
Absolutely, and I tell you what happens with that permanent jet lag as well, Andrea. And this is me with my little bit of knowledge around medicine. It then encourages your body to eat
Yeah.
unnecessary rubbish. You're fueling yourself because you're tired. Let me go and grab
Mm,
that biscuit, a couple of biscuits, another sugar with a tea with sugar in it, another coffee. It's encouraging your body to reach out for things that aren't necessarily conducive to your body firing on all cylinders.
yeah. And
Yeah,
it's sleep is free.
sabotage.
Again, it's like we're saying, we're not asking you to go out and buy something. Just go to bed a bit earlier. That's literally all it is.
And maybe it's funny because one of the things that what now we're settling into the farmhouse, I said to my husband who's come out of boarding for the first time in 11 years, and one of the things I said to him was, Matt, can we have a couple of like ground rules for each other here? And he's like, what's that? And I said, can we just get to bed a bit earlier?
Mhm.
And he said to me, he said, what does that look like? And I said, well, instead of the half 11, 12 o'clock, can we just get to bed 11 for half 11? Can we do that? And he's like, all right. I said, so, but can we have that without there not being any aggravation of, just let me finish this, stop going on, stop nagging. I said, can we do that? He's like, all right, we're on. So just
And
that,
how's it been? What have you
yeah.
noticed?
I wouldn't say we've done forget the weekends, yeah,
Mhm.
but the Monday to Friday. I wouldn't say it's been every night, but I tell you what, since I brought it to his conscious awareness, it's at least 4 out of 5 times, he's doing that. I mean, the other night he shot me. He's like, "Babe, I'm tired. I'm going to bed." It's 20 to 11. I was like, "Shit, you banged your head? what's up with you, babes?" I was like, "Do you need a doctor?" You
But
know,
Michelle, you will understand this as much as anybody else, in that really all we're talking about is forming helpful habits. And when your body's amazing, it starts to just like a dog understands, it knows what time it's going to be fed or when you normally take
yeah,
it for a walk. We're exactly the same. And
absolutely.
now that obviously I've spent the past 6 months or so really working on this in order to get well, my body, it gets to about quarter to 10 and it's like a little flag goes off in my brain going, excuse me,
Yeah,
normally you need to start wrapping up because you
wrapping
need to
up.
go to bed. Babe, you need to switch off the
Yeah,
Netflix and
yeah,
don't just do the
yeah,
watch next. I have to sit with the remote in my hand,
yeah,
and as it goes, next episode starts in three
yeah, yeah.
seconds I have to go bang and switch it off.
And if you catch it, just you go into that next. Oh no, just half an hour more. So there's that. These all little helpful habits. Exactly what you said. Formulating really good habits.
Yeah.
And I could, really emphasize and share to women who are struggling, sometimes looking in the mirror, not liking what they see. Work on those 3 things first.
Mhm.
Yeah. And I reassure you, I can't promise anything, but I reassure you, you will feel differently about your outlook on your life.
Yeah. And also because you're controlling what you can control. And at
What's
the
putting the
moment,
gift?
the self-sabotage it's okay. It's coming from a place of fear because it is
Yeah.
scary to make changes, and that's all right. And once you look that in the face and go, okay, this is perfectly normal that I'm feeling this. I don't hate on myself for doing it,
Yeah,
and I wish I could be different. It's normal. But now you've
absolutely,
seen what it is, and you can make these little changes.
absolutely.
Let's do it. To finally, Michelle, I wanted to ask you a slightly different take on this.
Mhm.
So in my work, I've also come across women who they are approaching midlife with absolute dynamite. They're smashing it. They're feeling great. Perhaps they have pivoted career, or maybe they've zhuzhed up their fitness regime and their beauty regime, and they are rocking it.
Mhm. Mhm.
And their partners don't like it, and
Oh,
their friends don't like it, and their friends are giving them the side eye. How do you deal with that?
whew. Ange, babes, I don't know if you've got enough time, but I'm gonna give it. And bear in mind, guys, if you don't know me and you want to know me, you'll realize that I am as authentic as they come. I keep shit real. So, sorry, Andrew, I've sworn 3 times on here. Please forgive me. I keep
It
things.
is all good.
I keep things real. Um, Number one, your partner doesn't like it. It's probably an issue. And sometimes people's behavior is because of their own, I call it their own upset that they're not achieving what they really want to do. So sometimes there's a little bit of envy because you are doing you, and all of a sudden you're in this new, and it's not a midlife crisis. You've now realized that actually you're bloody important. So instead of it being called women are going through a midlife crisis that are zhuzhing themselves up, no, she's realized it's a midlife importance.
It's a
Yeah.
midlife resurgence. That's what it is.
Resurgence, importance, you matter. Yeah. So for those that don't like that, could be your partner don't like that. That's a them problem. And along the way, unfortunately, I've felt this myself, which is quite sad. A lot of the women that I've had in my corner before, when I've just Michelle doing all right, and now Michelle that's kicking ass, dancing on the gram, feeling good, buying house, doing this. All of a sudden, there's a bit of backing off. And actually, you have to ask yourself, people are in your life for a purpose and a time. Then you meet people. I met you, Andrea, who I've clicked with from day one. Lisa Snowden, I clicked with from day one. Lavina, I click. And we don't just click, superficially click. Because anyone can say, oh, she's my best friend. I love you, queen, and all that nonsense. Yeah, because it's the truth. Yeah. We click because actually, underneath all of this, we really resonate with each other's journey, passion, and our why. And we appreciate each other. So sometimes it's time to let those paths go with no malice. You cannot be malice. You cannot wish badness on anybody. But just recognize they were in your life for a time and it's time to move on. Yeah, it's time. It's time, and it's no. Do not wish any badness on anybody. She don't speak to me. She don't leverage me. No, that's how it is. It's time to move on. Keep going, because we've probably only got 30 summers left, if we're lucky. So I don't want to spend my 30 summers worrying about who doesn't want to see me doing well, who doesn't want to come to dinner with me, who doesn't want to leverage me. No, because there's somebody that will want to leverage me. And with a partner, if it's not working, sometimes you have to ask yourself the question after massive exploration, not the drop of a hat, not frivolously. You have to ask yourself the real deep question: can you see a future with this person? And that can happen. You've seen a lot of marriages break down in midlife, a lot, because actually this empty nest, you were only together for the children. You had the commonality because of the children. You had the common goal because you could run around the tennis court together. You could play golf together. All of a sudden, one wants to go walking with the dog. The other one wants to stay at home watching telly on Netflix. There's so many different things. It's a constant, there's a lot of nuances behind it all. But you've got to be honest, because you know what? This is one life, guys. You know, I heard, and this makes me quite emotional, 3 deaths in the last 3 weeks. Dr. Uchenna, that some may know, is a dentist, beautiful, smiley girl that was going to come and help me paint my house. And another lady called Maddie Ann Holt, an ambassador for Women's Aid, 35, died of brain cancer. And another lady that I didn't know called Nick, who was a real massive ambassador for breast cancer. And those 3 people, the eldest one was Dr. Uchenna at 53. Maddie, 35, and Nick was 38, 37. Young women who haven't seen the best of their lives. So because when you hear these things, Ange, it makes you dig deep and say, do you know what? I am living this life I have for as long as I have. And I'm going to do what brings me joy. And sometimes I might be a solo traveler, but that's okay too.
Things made me fill up. Oh my gosh, that's so powerful. You are so right. And we forget that sometimes in the busyness of our lives.
Absolutely.
And sometimes it you do need a bit of a wake up call like that. I knew you Chenna, and just, oh my God, you're hearing. When I heard the news, I literally nearly dropped my phone. I was so shocked.
Flawed.
Because she was due to be sitting here. I was supposed to be doing this conversation. We'd been back and forth chatting about it, and she was supposed to be sitting here. And then I got the notice that she had her assistant actually contacted me to say that she had passed out of nowhere, and we're the same age.
There you go.
And I think for me, whilst I was shocked and I was upset and I was so sad for her family and sad for her daughter, there was a part of me that I thought, I'm so happy that at least I have made decisions that I don't know what is around the corner. I've had bumpy rides. I'm just coming out the other side of a bumpy time in my life, and I've made a decision that I don't know what's going to happen. So I'm actually going to do something that works for me. You know, going back to university at my age is insane, and I'm doing it. You know, and it was hearing about you, Chenna. She made me sit up and feel, I'm taking my own advice. I'm doing it. So anybody watching this today that has given you a sit down with yourself and think, yeah, I may only have 30 summers left. Don't see it as in a maudlin, oh my God, why are you bringing that up way? No, see it as this is real.
This is real.
How do you want to spend your next 30 summers, and how are you going to do it in a way that really works for you and fills your soul? No, Instagram, living your best life, nonsense kind of way. In a you way, in a quiet, deeply personal way. Because when you die, Instagram doesn't care.
Hello,
you know?
The amount of followers don't matter. You know what?
It doesn't matter.
As a big keynote speaker for corporate companies, I always leave the room, because these people are earning thousands, $250,000 up generally, and I'm there, my little, getting my little $2,000 here and there, which is okay. And I leave there and I leave them with a powerful thing. When your time eventually comes and someone reads out your eulogy, how do you best want to be remembered?
Mm,
That's it.
that is it.
Write your own eulogy by playing it out.
100%. That was advice that was given to me many, many years ago by a dear friend of mine called Pete Cohen. He's a coach that I've known for, oh my gosh, nearly 30 years now. How are we that old? And
No.
and he gave me that advice, and I've taken it. And do you know what? Sometimes you're going to do things people don't understand. They're going to be confused by. They're going to think, well, I wouldn't do that. That's okay, because I'm not you. You're going to get people who will judge and think, look at her being too big for her boots. That's okay, because I'm not you. You do you.
You
I
do.
know it's a twee thing that's on TikTok and everything else, but at the core of it, it's kind of right.
It's right.
You do you.
You do you, because I'm doing me.
Yeah. And as long as they don't, you don't have to fight about it. Because I genuinely don't understand why people have to fight about most things that people are fighting about. Just crack on.
Just crack on. Just do you. But maybe that's our Libran mindset, Ange.
Maybe it is. Michelle, you're amazing. Where can people find you? Where can they hunt you down? Give you a squeeze if they see you in the street. Where can they find you?
I always say to people, and this is really true, and I genuinely mean this, probably why I've only got 7,500 followers, which is okay. I often say to people, you're going to find me if you're meant to find me, but make sure you find yourself first. Yeah. Make sure you really find yourself first, because you're going to find me. I believe in the universe. I really believe in that manifestation. And I'm on Michelle Griffith Robinson, OLY on Instagram. I'm on Robinson OLY on Twitter. I'm everywhere if I'm meant to be there. But find you first.
I love that. What a great, great place to finish. Thank you, Michelle. You're amazing as ever. Thank you.
Pleasure, Andrea. Thanks for having me.
I hope you've enjoyed today's midlife conversation. Make sure you like and subscribe this YouTube channel so you don't miss a single episode. And if you want to join in the conversation, head over to Facebook and check out Andrea McLean, This Girl is on Fire private Facebook group, where you can not only watch these videos, but join in the conversation as well. I'll see you next time.